What's up, everybody? This is Dominic DeAngelo of WrestleZone.com, and this is episode 10 of WCW Rewritten. I am here with the booker himself, the powers that be, Mr. Marcus DeAngelo, my degenerate brother. Marcus, episode 10, does it feel like 10 episodes?
No, dude, we've been doing this for 10 weeks. Actually, we missed an episode, so this is 11 weeks that we've been doing this show. And yeah, it's been an absolute blast. I'm having a ball rebooking WCW. There was so much meat on the bone in 1998, and I am taking full advantage, as will be evidenced tonight on our go-home show here before SuperBrawl VIII.
SuperBrawl VIII, and wow, it's been structuring up to be quite the card. A lot of new stuff you're introducing. We had a big debut last week. Well, not a debut, but like an unexpected alliance with Lord Steven Regal joining the likes of Ric Flair to close out the show.
Yeah, I mean, Ric Flair's kind of forming this group of guys who are old school, old fashioned, like wrestling the way that it used to be in like the 80s. And I was like, who's better to join that group than, a guy who's like a catch wrestler such as William Regal, Steven Regal in this case.
Yeah. We got obviously this is a live version, so I see a lot of people tuning in. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
If you want to chime in and give some feedback as we go on. Now Marcus and I've been teasing a poll for weeks on end, and finally I posted it yesterday.
Boy, am I excited about this part of the podcast.
Jeez, I know. Yeah, I have to hat in hand, handily accept my defeat. Here, I'm pulling it up right now. As we, yes, Marcus and Marcus created, obviously there's a new faction here with Bret Hart and the Hart Foundation, but we can't call them the Hart Foundation in WWF, in WCW, just can't do it. So it ended up being, Marcus came up with a new faction name, the Hart Dungeon. And while good, I was like, hey, I kind of like the Hart Stampede as it plays the Stampede Wrestling Days, and Stu Hart's promotion up there in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and got a lot of I thought tipped the cap to history, so to speak, and wasn't maybe too on the nose with Hart Dungeon. But I posted the poll here yesterday, and Marcus, gotta say, beat me pretty handedly for the most part. 70%. 74 votes were totally casted, and the Hart Dungeon won by 70% to Hart Stampede with 30%. So it looks like we got the Hart Dungeon in WCW.
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and stick with the Hart Dungeon, and I'm seeing Go Pier Ray Schultz. Hi from Mitch. Hi. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you guys being here. Yeah, Dominic, I just feel like the Hart Dungeon is very WCW in this era. I think it works perfectly. Plus the legacy of the Hart Dungeon, the dungeon in Bret Hart's basement when he was growing up. So let's roll with it, man. I'm glad that mine pulled out the victory.
Right, I'm gonna have to make some logos and a little like tea like I did for Los Latinos.
There you go. Who
they're very much feuding with. So Marcus, you left a lot of intriguing strands to close out that our previous episode. So hey, let's get to kicking. How do you rewrite this episode? Oh, you know what? I forgot. We got to do the.
I was just gonna say you got to tell people what actually happened.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is 2/16/98, Dominic. If you're just googling it just now.
2/16/98. Okay, let's take a look here. Vamp for a bit, Marcus. Well, how do they follow us on Twitter and all that?
Yes. Okay, so you can follow me on Twitter at Marcus P. DeAngelo. You can also follow this podcast on Twitter at WCW Rewritten. You can follow my slapdick brother Dominic DeAngelo on Twitter at Dominic DeAngelo. And you can follow WrestleZone at WrestleZone.com. Go to WrestleZone.com for all of your wrestling news and wrestling related needs. And yeah, man, it's this podcast, let me tell you. It has really kind of gone in different directions than I expected it to. Even like I've got a bare bones plan, but kind of as I write, some ideas occur to me as I'm going, and I'm like, I'm gonna change that. So it's fun, man. Nothing is 100% set in cement. I am accepting suggestions. Like if people have things that they want to suggest to me, cool, by all means, go ahead. I'm not saying I'm going to use them for sure, but hey, if your idea is good enough and I'm like, damn, that idea is better than mine, I will use it. So go ahead, Dominic.
Yeah. So it was February 16th in Nitro, correct, Marcus?
February 16th, 1998. Yes.
Okay. So, what happened? To kick off this Nitro, Bill Goldberg defeated Hugh Morris. Sick Boy defeated Mark Starr. The Public Enemy defeated the Outsiders with Dusty Rhodes via DQ. Mike
Kevin
Enos.
Nash power bombed Rocco Rock over the top rope through a table.
That's right. Yeah, you were talking about that a couple episodes ago.
It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Rocco Rock was like, I might actually die right now.
Mike Enos defeated Barry Horowitz. Yuji Nagata with Sonny Oto defeated La Parca of Los Latinos in our universe here. Ultimo Dragon defeated Kidman. The Barbarian with Jimmy Hart defeated Ming. Wow. Perry Saturn defeated Rick Martel. Kurt Hennig with Rick Rude defeated Bobby Eaton. And the Steiner Brothers with Ted DiBiase, the champions, defeated Vicious and Delicious, which was Buff Bagwell and Scott Norton. By DQ.
Threw up, Dominic.
I didn't know they were called that.
That's what they called themselves, yes.
Vicious and Delicious. Now, wait a second. Holy smoke. So, we're still going here. Rick Martel then later defeated Booker T to win the World Television Championship. Do you know what that was about at all?
No, I just know that Rick Martel had just come into the promotion and he got a nice little push there. And so I think they wanted to establish him as a wily veteran. So they gave him the dub over Booker T.
Well, that's the second match he had tonight, according to what I'm looking at here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I know I just watched that episode probably like a year and a half ago, maybe, but I just do not recall.
Oh, okay. And then Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko defeated Chris Jericho and Eddie Guerrero. And then the main event had Lex Luger and Sting defeated Hollywood Hogan and Randy Savage via DQ.
All right. And pretty good event. Not as good as mine. Gopir Ray has asked us what's going on with WWE that's been reading up. Sounds like they're replacing some people. If you're referring to the office changes that they made, it actually happened as a result of the way that Mickie James received her personal belongings from WWE. They fired Mark Carano, who I believe was the head of talent relations there. And
well, not talent related. I think something else. But
it was something like that. Some official capacity where he was working hand in hand with talent a lot. And she received a box. And when she opened the box, there was a trash bag with her name on it and her belongings inside of it. So just very impersonal for somebody who sacrificed their body for the company for so long. So to play a little housekeeping, WWE was like, we're firing those people because we're not the bad guy. They are.
They are. They did.
Yeah. So WWE, they're just deflecting at the expense of some of their office staff right now. But in any case, Dominic, you ready for my account?
Yeah, let's do it, brother.
All right, here we go. So this is the 2/16/1998 Nitro. Explosions go off, and we're live on Nitro. We are just 6 days away from SuperBrawl VIII, and Tony reminds us that the main event is already set. Sting will defend his World Heavyweight title against Macho Man Randy Savage. Tony also reminds us that Hollywood Hogan will answer the challenge that Diamond Dallas Page laid out last week. And another match has also been set for over the weekend for this event. Booker T and Lex Luger will be taking on Raven and his own personal mad dog, the Pyromaniac Canyon. So some matches are set. That's about it as far as matches that are set to this point on this card. So believe me, folks, we're going to get there on this episode. I kind of had to shoehorn in all of these matches because I was like, oh shit, we're a week away from the event and I haven't really set anything up. So yeah, we're getting it this week. For the opener, Public Enemy make their way down to the ring, and all of the sheep in the crowd wave their hands back and forth. You remember how everybody was like, everybody was like waving their arms. And I remember seeing that. I was like, this is ridiculous. They are, of course, carrying a table, which is the Chekhov's gun of professional wrestling during that era. If they have a table, one of them will go through it.
Just a matter of time.
Always happen. 90s techno music plays, and we have the debut of Runway Royalty. Both Martel and Alex Wright are wearing tearaway silk suits, one blue and one magenta, and they are surrounded by photographers who snap their pictures as they use the entrance ramp like a runway, complete with cheesy modeling poses. Can't you just picture Rick Rude and Alex Wright both just nailing this?
I could. Well, you mean Rick Martel.
I'm sorry, Rick Martel, yes.
It does. I will say already, Marcus, it walks the tightrope of wrestle crap, though.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm doing it right, Dominic. Damn it. Don't you piss on my parade. When they get to the ring, they tear away their silk suits, and they're in matching pink trunks, much like those that Martel wore in WWF a few years earlier. The bell rings, and Martel starts the match out, but he acts like he's repulsed by the idea of having to touch Johnny Grunge. This match is going to be centered around featuring Runway Royalty, so they're both going to get all their shit in with lots of cheating involved. Alex Wright was an unbelievable worker. I like just a stupid gimmick that he got in WCW, which is just basically like he's a good-looking dude who wears a leather jacket and dances. That was about it.
That was all they gave him.
So now it's like, I'm actually giving him something here. I'm going to ask him politely to never dance on our television.
Please don't dance.
Right, do not dance. And dude, Rick Martel, he was, even at the age he was at, I can't remember how old. I know he's in his 40s. He was just silky smooth during this era. I was just listening to somebody talking about him. I can't remember who it was. It might have been JR or somebody. But they were saying how, like, Rick Martel was so good that it looked like he wasn't trying. Like it looked like he was just going through the motions in the ring, but he was just that damn good in the ring. Like, he was just smooth as butter.
Well, you look at it, like, even before he hit stardom in WWF as the model, like, where was he? He was in the AWA, and he was like their next big champion was Rick Martel. And so Vern Gagne even saw something in Martel. And, you know, from a guy, a Canadian that's French Canadian, that English was not his first language, pretty impressive.
Dude was amazing. And if I remember right, he started wrestling when he was like just fresh out of high school. He was just like in the ring with like grown men. So it's like just nuts, his lifestyle.
Yeah.
All right. So for the finish, Grunge is going to have Martel looking almost defeated, and Alex Wright will run in. Rocco Rock is going to cut right off and spill out to the apron with him in a tussle. There, the two will exchange blows, but after an eye rake from Wright, Alex Wright will throw Rock off the apron and, of course, through the table on the floor. In the meantime, Grunge has been distracted by that situation. When he turns around, Martel pulls both his legs out from under him and locks him in the Boston Crab for the submission finish. So, of course, the Runway Royalty was going to go over in their debut.
Sure.
As Runway Royalty celebrates, the arena lights dim and a spotlight hits the two men in the ring. All of the photographers will have now returned, and the dimness in the arena is going to help with all the flash bulbs going off. I think it would make for a really cool visual.
Yeah.
All right, so after a quick commercial for Super Brawl, we return to the ring where Chris Jericho is standing and holding a mic. He says, you know, for the past few weeks, all of my Jerichoholics in the arena and at home have had to watch while I, their hero, gets completely screwed over by Dragon Guy and some loser who's walking around with my Cruiserweight title and calling himself Juice. Well, I'm here tonight to tell you that I'm just as sick of it as all of you are. And with the full support from all of you here, I want J.J. Dillon to push away whatever tray of fast food he has in front of him for long enough to come out here and set up the match we all know we should be getting at Super Brawl. Chris Jericho in a Cruiserweight title match against Juventu Guerrera. You come out here right now, Dillon, and you give it to me. After a brief pause, Dillon does in fact come out from the back with a mic in his hand. You know, Chris, you've changed a lot over these past few weeks, and none of that changes for the better. What exactly makes you think you're the only one who deserves this title shot? Because it's mine, you stupid idiot. Which
Using that way back when.
Definitely picture him doing. Well, Dillon says, as compelling an argument as that may be, I'm afraid that there's one other man who has an equal claim as the number one contender for the Cruiserweight title, and that man is Ultimo Dragon. The crowd pops as Jericho begins to throw a hissy fit in the ring. Well, now, hold on, Chris, hold on. Even though I may not like you, I still see that you deserve a title shot at Super Brawl. That's why it is my decision that you will have your title match in 6 days, but it just won't be the way that you think. At Super Brawl, it's going to be Chris Jericho versus Ultimo Dragon versus Juventu Guerrera in a triple threat match for the Cruiserweight Championship. The crowd pops and and Jericho, of course, protests in the ring. But that's not all, Chris. I want to see who really wants that belt the most. So this won't be just any triple threat match. We're going to hang that belt high above the ring, and we're going to have ourselves a triple threat ladder match.
Oh, damn.
Mm-hmm. The crowd gives a huge pop, and Jericho is losing his mind in the ring. I thought you'd be pleased with that, Chris. See you in 6 days, and if I can offer just one word of advice, sir, it would be this. Hang on. Oh, things will be happening awful fast out there, so keep your head on a swivel. JJ turns and leaves, and when the camera comes back to Jericho, we see that Ultimo Dragon is in the ring behind him. Jericho turns and for the third week in a row gets sprayed with red mist in the face. He sells like a drunk man, and we're off to a commercial. I'm just loving Jericho getting sprayed by red mist, and just seeing it in like the visual of him selling it. I'm like, this a beautiful thing.
My.
When we so the triple threat ladder match, Dom.
I like it. It's I'm trying to think now. Was that like the first time in a while? Like, or I don't know if they've ever. When did they start? WCW start implementing ladder matches? This was more so in the like after this fact, wasn't it?
Yes, first one I remember happening was in '97 though, and it was between Eddie Guerrero and Six.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. Was that a sold out match?
That was that was sold out in '97.
'97. Okay, that's right. I forgot.
Great match too.
Yeah, that was a good match.
But you know, a gimmick match like a triple threat ladder match. I mean, who better to pull it off than these three? I mean,
right?
It's going to be a damn spectacle.
Real visual.
Some visual candy, eye candy. When we return, the guys continue to hype tonight and remind us that the Steiner brothers will be defending their tag team titles against Wolfpack members Kurt Hennig and Conan. Goldberg's theme plays, and we are off to the next contest. As Goldberg makes his way to the ring in mid-pyro, and lots of punches and kicks, all that karate stuff he would do on his way to the ring.
Oh, yeah.
Tenay reminds us again that Goldberg has yet to be defeated in WCW. His opponents tonight, yes, that's right, 2 opponents tonight, wait for him in the ring nervously. He will be facing none other, Dominic, than T. Ranchula and Bob Starr.
Oh.
Our friend T is going to get the early advantage by attacking Bill as he's getting into the ring. And jump-starting the match. It's not long before Bill, of course, begins to no-sell and wipes T out. T manages to tag in Bob Starr, who immediately climbs to the top rope in an attempt to do a double axe handle, but Goldberg, of course, catches him with a giant spear in midair, and the crowd goes nuts. Bill then thrust kicks T off the apron and finishes Starr with a jackhammer. As Goldberg is doing his who's next shtick to the ringside camera, he gets interrupted by a familiar voice. Jimmy Hart.
The mouth of the South.
Hey, baby.
Nothing more intimidating than the voice of Jimmy Hart, especially talking to Goldberg.
You really think you're something, don't you, Mr. Bill Goldberg? First, you defeat 2 of my clients in singles matches, and now you're such a big man that you're competing in handicap matches? Well, if that's how tough you think you are, how about you prove it? At SuperBrawl, I want to see how you'll fare against the toughest tag team in the world, the Faces of Fear. You think you have the guts for that challenge, big man? The camera comes back to Goldberg, who grins at Hart. Tony tells us that he thinks that looks like the challenge has been accepted. Good, says Jimmy. We're going to wipe that look off your face. We head to a commercial, but when we return, we find Hollywood Hogan exiting a limo with Randy Savage, Brian Clark, and Eric Bischoff. Hogan turns and leans back toward the limo to talk to who's inside. We can't see who it is. You 3 have the plan in place, right, brother? Tonight, the NWO takes its first step toward taking over the world of professional wrestling again, brothers. Macho Man is going to win the World Heavyweight title. Brian Clark is going to continue to dominate as the U.S. champ. You 3 are going to work out your thing, and I'm going to go take care of some business. We'll see you guys back at the hotel. Buff is there with the beer on ice, dudes. Come on, Brian, you got a match right now, brother. So I'm getting in a lot of, what is that called? Where I'm just like perpetuating the storyline through dialogue.
Yes.
I can't remember exposition. I'm doing a lot of exposition, but I mean, we're on it's a tight time frame, folks. Give me a fucking break.
What's the tag team name of Buff and Scott Norton again?
Vicious and Delicious, which has been disbanded, Dominic.
That does not exist in this universe.
The camera follows Hogan, Clark, Macho Man, and Bischoff all the way to the ring through the back as the NWO music plays. They come out looking as arrogant as ever with Brian Clark in the lead, getting ready for his match against Mike Enos, who is waiting for him in the ring. Clark is going to absolutely mop the floor with Mike Enos. I like Mike, but we need to get Clark over as a dominating heel. The NWO members, including Bischoff, will all get their shots in while the ref is distracted, but it's completely unnecessary because Clark is just dominating the match. He hits Enos with the death penalty and gets the victory. The guys outside the ring all pile in, and Bischoff holds the mic for Hogan. The death penalty, if you remember, was just the rock bottom before the rock bottom was a thing, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Didn't he do like Wasn't it a pump handle slam he did or something?
He did do a pump handle slam, but his finisher, I think from the minute he came into the promotion as Wrath, was the rock bottom. Yeah.
He was the real secret character in Revenge.
Dude, Wrath, Brian Clark, I have no idea why that guy didn't go over. He looked like $1 million. He was enormous, like great physique, handsome guy. I'm like, why didn't he get over? I don't understand what happened.
I don't get it either.
So I'm going to get him over in my world.
Did you see he posted a picture of him and Randy Savage drinking a beer?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
They had it looked like they were in Japan based on like what they were wearing, and they had like this giant plate of seafood in front of them and enormous beers. And I'm like, oh my god, that looks amazing.
You think about it, like even those guys that kind of like weren't like a huge name or like they had their like a brief fling with stardom and stuff. They still have all those relationships like with those legendary guys. Like you see that, you know.
Actually, Brian Clark's future tag team partner, Brian Adams, they were in Chronic, but he and Randy Savage were best friends.
How about that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were like tight as could be.
They got along real well, huh?
Yeah. Mm. All right, so now Hogan's on the mic. You know, dude, week after week, the NWO regains a little more of its old strength. Well, brothers, tonight is the night that the plan begins to unfold. It won't be long now before all the pieces fall into place and the NWO is back on top of the wrestling world. In the meantime, there is one pesky little fly that keeps buzzing around my head. That fly's name is Diamond Dallas Page. You want a match against the greatest wrestler that ever lived at SuperBrawl, Page? Well, you got it. I'm finally going to swat you and end your buzzing days for good. In fact, the only person who's going to take a worse beating than you at SuperBrawl will be Sting. Tell him much. Bischoff turns the mic to Savage. Ooh, yeah. Sting, last week, you attacked one of our own. You snuck up on Buff Bagwell, and now he's stuck back at the hotel with his neck and our beer on ice. Yeah. Well, Sting, you're not going to be able to sneak up on the Macho Man. No. In 6 days, you're going to have to come face to face with me. And when I'm done, they're going to lay that belt at my feet. And you'll be nothing but some creep who spends his time in the rafters with a vulture. Well, that
no belt, dude.
Well, that vulture might just be picking your bones after I'm done with you because the NWO is just too sweet. The NWO music plays and we go to commercial at the end of hour one. So, Dom, Exposition, match is being set. have to do it. All right, now we're into hour two. In classic NWO paid advertisement fashion, the Wolfpack is featured standing together. It's a bunch of cut together black and white film, just like the old NWO segments.
Oh, so they're not. Isn't that kind of stealing the whole thing of NWO and it's also black and white?
Yeah, but it's the Wolfpack, so they're of the NWO, so they're kind of like appropriating this vigilante film thing.
Okay, all right.
Nash starts out. Last week, I had Ric Flair, the man who has lost the World Heavyweight Championship more than anyone else in the history of wrestling, right where I wanted him, when a job guy came down to the ring and stuck his nose where it didn't belong. Well, William Regal, I'm going to give you... Actually, it's Steven Regal. Well, Steven Regal, I'm going to give you a chance to prove you're a real man. I want you at SuperBrawl this Sunday, and this time, it's going to be you who gets powerbombed through a table. Kurt Hennig goes next with Rick Rude behind one shoulder and Conan behind the other. And as for you, Tully Blanchard and Dean Malenko, you guys have the nerve to talk to me about legacy in wrestling. What did either of your fathers ever do? My dad, Larry the Axe Hennig, was an all-time great, and not only would he have embarrassed both of your dads, but if I asked him to, he'd come to WCW and embarrass both of you two clowns right now. So how about we make this thing interesting? After Conan and I become tag team champions by defeating the Steiner brothers, we want both of you in a tag match at SuperBrawl. We know you guys have both got where you are by being cheaters, so our enforcer, Rick Rude, will be standing by to level the playing field. We'll see you guys there. And finally, Scott Hall goes next. Hey, yo, Zbyszko. Looks like you're overextending yourself by trying to play the wrestler. Do yourself a favor, old man, and stay in the announcer's booth with your headset on where it's safe. If I hear you running your mouth about me again, I'll pay you another visit, and this time you won't even be able to return to your desk. Don't mess with me, Zbyszko, and don't turn your back on the Wolfpack. We return to the arena, and the announce booth And at the announce booth, Bobby Heenan has replaced Larry Legend. But moments after the announcers start in for hour 2, Larry is back with a mic in his hand, standing next to them. So again, Dominic, exposition. I forgot to build these matches or set matches in the previous week. So I'm like, Jesus, I have a lot of matches to set.
I got to play catch up.
Yeah, so a little exposition this week, but come on, it is what it is.
WCW is not run perfect, and nor has it been in this universe either.
Not in my world either. I will say, though, if this was my full-time job, if this was like all I had to do for a full week, I'd be just nailing it.
It sounds like excuses.
Fuck you, Dom. All right, so now Larry's there at the booth with the guys. It's hour 2 here on Nitro, folks, and that means I now set down my announcer hat and put on a hat that fits me a little better, my wrestling hat. Scott Hall, you and your band of cowards, the Wolfpack, have done everything you can to destroy our business and the people who have built it from the ground up. Last week, as far as I'm concerned, you made your final mistake with me. You attacked me from behind like the worm you are, and you did everything you could to end my career as a wrestler. Well, Scott, it'll take a greater man than you to do that. In 6 days, Hall, I say that you and I settle this thing once and for all. Man to man, face to face, no excuses. Now, I know that your MO has been to bring one of your little cronies to the ring with you to get an unfair advantage, so I made a phone call that will help to even the odds. At SuperBrawl, any advantage you might think you have had by playing the numbers game will be gone because I've got a special guest joining me in my corner. Bring whoever you want, Hall, because nothing's going to save you now. Larry leaves, and the crowd gives a big pop for the prospect of such an exciting match. The announcers put the new matches over in short order. We just added 3 matches to the card. Bam! Just like that, Dom. 1 segment, 3 matches.
Not Marcus. I don't know if he knows how to book that well. With all cramming him in. That's what Meltzer's saying in the hypothetical dirt sheets.
Well, see, now that's because I put so much love into this. Imagine if Meltzer listened to this podcast and criticized it every week. I think I'd be like Eric Bischoff, like fuck him. He's never booked an event. So yeah, Dom, these matches all just make sense to me, right? Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and Steven Regal makes a lot of sense because Kevin Nash was capable of having good matches. He just needed a really good partner. So every time he wrestled Shawn Michaels, it was a 5-star match. Every time he wrestled Bret Hart, 5-star match. So now it's okay, Steven Regal was an A+ worker. Let's get him in the ring with Kevin Nash. He will 100% get the
Well,
best
let me just say, I will say WrestleMania 11 was not the best main event that there could have been.
You're only saying that because of the finish. The match itself won match of the year.
Did it really?
Yeah, it did. Look it up, Dom. So suck on that.
Suck it up, you fucking wrestling journalist bitch.
Yeah, it won match of the year, Dom. It was a great match, but Shawn Michaels took the worst powerbomb in the history of pro wrestling.
Now, was there rumors that he did that deliberately or something?
Kevin Nash thinks he did.
Oh, really? Nash himself thinks he did?
Yeah, because he and Shawn are tight and everything. But I think that the way, how did Nash put it? Because the guy who was interviewing Nash and asked him, do you think Shawn did it on purpose? He was like, Shawn could take a power bomb in his sleep. He was like, so yeah, I think he probably took it on purpose. And Scott Hall and Larry Zbyszko, come on, let's blow this angle off now. As far as just let's think about this. Conan and Kurt Hennig against a tag team of Dean Malenko and Tully Blanchard. Whew. Magic, Dominic.
That's something, all right.
Chris is telling us he loves the podcast. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. Very nice. Yeah. Well, Marcus, he does okay.
All right, Booker T is out next, and he's defending his TV title against Billy Kidman. Lex Luger accompanies him to the ring to even the odds, as Kidman has both Riggs and Sick Boy with him. I think that this match deserves 20 minutes or so, because both guys are great workers. Plenty of meat on the bone for storytelling between Luger and the men on the outside of the ring as well.
Booker T and Kidman?
Yeah, Booker T and Kidman. And then Kidman's got Riggs and Sick Boy at ringside with him, and Booker T's got Luger.
Okay.
The announcers throughout the match will be wondering aloud where the rest of the members of the flock are. Booker T is going to get a clean victory here after he moves out of the way of Kidman's 7-year itch and then drills him with an axe kick as he's trying to regain his feet. Lex, in the meantime, has double clotheslined both Riggs and Sick Boy on the outside of the ring, incapacitating them. As Booker T is getting his hand raised, the announcers throw to a developing scene backstage. There, we find Raven and Saturn are holding the arms of Stevie Ray as Canyon stands in front of him, grinning like a madman and flicking a lighter open and closed.
Uh-oh.
He faces the camera and speaks directly to Booker T and Luger. You found yourself a new partner, huh, Booker? Well, good. You'll need him because your brother might be on the shelf for good. With that, Canyon throws the flash paper fireball into Stevie Ray's face, and the camera cuts away during all the ensuing commotion. We return to the ring where Booker T is flipping out, and both he and Luger make a beeline for the back as we go to the next commercial. So again, these guys are trying to burn motherfuckers' faces.
Jeez. Pyromaniacs. That flock, I tell you.
A little bit more of an edgy flock, right?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Because in actual WCW, it was like they were cool, but it's like kind of just seemed like a bunch of depressed dudes who could fight a little bit.
Milling around. They had Lodi holding some signs and Reese lumbering around.
Yeah, you'll notice that neither Lodi or Reese have made any appearances for me.
Van Hammer does not exist either.
No, Van Hammer's just I used him as a job guy in a match a couple weeks ago. When we return, Luger and Booker T are standing by as medical staff attend to Stevie Ray. Booker T looks incredibly concerned, and he swears revenge on the group that did this to his brother. We return to the ring, and Bret Hart's theme is playing, and the British Bulldog comes out wearing his flag cape and looking ripped.
Yeah.
Tonight he takes on La Parka of Los Latinos, who's already waiting for him in the ring. This match is
chairman.
The chairman of the board.
Mm-hmm.
This match is going to get a nice period.
Keep talking, Marcus. I got to kick the pets out.
Yeah, dude, do what you got to do. This match is going to get a decent sized chunk of time because both guys are great workers. I know the British Bulldog might not have been what he used to be at this point, but he was still awesome. He still had all the technique down. And La Parka, underrated. He was awesome in the ring. For a guy his size, he could do some pretty incredible shit.
Dude, I love La Parka. Well, LA Park now, but he's so great still, even now. Like just the charisma he has in the ring and with his two sons in MLW, he's one of my favorite wrestlers going. Actually,
crazy, he's still doing it, and that just goes to show you, like back in '98, he was like just starting out, still in his prime.
Yeah.
All right, so ultimately, Bulldog is going to hoist La Parka up for his running power slam, but Eddie and Chavo are there, and they grab La Parka's ankles and pull him off Bulldog's shoulder. The ref calls for the bell, and the match is disqualified. The three-men attack Bulldog, but it's not long before the Hitman and Neidhart come to the rescue and chase them. As Eddie, La Parka, and Chavo back up the ramp, Bret gets on the mic. Guerrero, I've had about enough of you and your flunkies. You think Los Latinos is a stronger family than the Hart Dungeon. How about you put your money where your mouth is? How about a 6-man tag match between 3 wannabes and the Hart Dungeon at SuperBrawl? Guerrero allows himself to get held back by his cohorts as he yells at Hart. I'll take that as a yes, Guerrero. I'll be amazed if you can muster enough guts to actually show up and go toe-to-toe with the excellence of execution and the rest of the Hart Dungeon. Guerrero curses Hart as we head for our final commercial before the main event.
Ooh,
Exposition, Dominic.
4 matches booked via Exposition.
I'm not fucking around. We got to sell this damn pay-per-view.
Marcus, what SuperBrawl is this? Is this
SuperBrawl VIII?
8, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've been just calling it SuperBrawl, and I feel like I'm doing it a disservice.
Out of the Cow Palace, Dom, in San Fran. Dave Meltzer was undoubtedly there. Main event is here, and Wolfpack members Conan and Kurt Hennig come out to a nice reaction. Steiner Eyes plays next, and the tag team champions come out looking like their old selves, slapping hands with fans and walking together. The announcers remind us that they have buried the hatchet, and they're back to being the best tag team in the world. So I want Hennig and Conan to have a big advantage throughout this match, because they really need to put themselves over as like a good tag team here. Mm-hmm. They're going to be cutting the ring in half, and they're going to be cheating at every opportunity but for the finish, Hennig appears to have Rick Steiner right where he wants him when Tully and Dean Malenko come out and distract him and Conan. Conan brawls with Tully and Dean on the outside, and while Kurt is distracted, Rick tags in Scott, who immediately hoists Hennig up for the screwdriver, the Steiner screwdriver, which looked terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets the victory. Dean and Tully beat up Conan on the outside, and Kurt is just out. The Steiners celebrate when suddenly Scott Norton is on a mic at the top of the ramp. I'm glad you two won. I really am, because Eric Bischoff just pulled some strings, and guess who the number 1 contenders are for your tag team titles? That's right, the NWO. So in 6 days at SuperBrawl.
What the fuck were you doing, Marcus, these past weeks?
Dude, I was like, I thought I had more time. So in 6 days of Super Brawl, you two are going to come up against me, Scott Norton, and a partner of my choosing. And that man just happened to arrive tonight.
Tonight.
The camera moves to the curtain, and none other than Brian Adams, the former Crush, emerges. The announcers pop, and Tony tells us that we are desperately out of time. We'll see you at Super Brawl. So Dominic, let me see here. According to Meltzer, in the newsletter, he said that Brian Adams was released from the WWF on 1/5/1998, stemming from him coming backstage and having some choice words with some people because he took a botched tombstone pile driver from Kane. And so he was let out of his contract. And next thing you know, he was on WCW TV. And I'm like, hey, let's bring his big ass in. He's got some equity.
You sure he didn't take exception to being in, wasn't he in the Disciples of Apocalypse?
I mean, there's no way that helped. No way that help matters.
He's the weird white guy in the Nation of Domination.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I remember getting that figure. We were in Altoona, PA, I think it was, and it was the Nation of Domination version of Brian Adams. He had like dreadlocks.
Damn, good memory.
Thanks. Yeah.
I remember having the figure. In fact, I think I've got it in the other room right now. Ooh. But I don't remember where we got it from.
What was the name of that amusement park that was in Altoona? Had the horse, like the carousel horse. Like the big logo.
I don't know, dude. Del Grosso.
Yeah, it was. Well, I think they changed the name. It was something before that, but yeah, those were the days, man. Wrestling figure days.
So a lot of exposition this week, but I don't think they detracted from the program.
And, no, you know what? For some of the circumstances, as it comes to being a podcast where we're talking about booking and you're not actually seeing the action, kind of lends itself to it in a little bit of a way. So
I think it kind of works. And plus, when now we're fresh, we know exactly what we're in for at Super Brawl. It's going to be quite an event.
And Marcus, I hope you just learned a valuable lesson.
I did, Dominic. I learned that whatever name you come up with for a group, nobody's going to give a fuck about.
Wow.
So just trust my instincts. That's the lesson I learned.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Well, you know what? When people get that big of an ego and they don't realize that they make mistakes and can't willing to accept them, their empire falls. So hopefully WCW Rewritten will not.
Well, theoretically the clock started ticking, so by 2001 I should be fucked.
Well fucked.
So no, man, I plan to go well beyond 2001. Think about all the releases that WWE did in like 2002, 2003, 2007. Yeah. So it's like there were a lot of guys out there just available.
And like heck, I mean, like Regal was a talent that WWE eventually picked up.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm saying
utilizing him at this moment in time.
I'm saying no. He's mine. He's staying.
He's my boy, my British boy.
So yeah, that's it. That's going to be it for this week, Dominic. We got Super Brawl coming up next week, and we are going to be on Sundays from here on, folks. So
yes,
might not always be live, but like we might record it on like a Friday or something. But you will get this podcast on Sundays.
Podcast will release every Sunday now.
Henceforth, yes.
This kind of works out because now I'm doing Impact coverage on Thursday nights, and to drop to get everything, and then I do Dynamite coverage on Wednesday nights. So for me to get that all churned out and ready to go for Thursday just makes it a little bit more tougher to do. So Sunday, it gives you a little taste of something to finish off the weekend when there's not a lot of podcasts jamming on your feed. So this will be a good one to kind of, and since these are evergreen shows, we like to keep it that way. I think Sunday's an appropriate day to release these, I think.
Yep. And I mentioned it last week, like Dominic and I, this is not our full-time job. We will try to always have this thing up on Sundays for you guys. It's not always going to happen. But rest assured, I'm not going to stop writing this, and we'll get it to you as often as we possibly can based on our schedules.
Heck yeah. Marcus, get those plugs in one more time. How do they follow you on Twitter?
Yeah. Follow me on the Twitter at Marcus P. DeAngelo. Follow this podcast, WCW Rewritten, on Twitter at WCW Rewritten. Dominic, how do they follow you and WrestleZone?
So you can follow me on Twitter at Dominic DeAngelo. You can follow WrestleZone on Twitter at WrestleZone.com. And yes, go to WrestleZone.com for all your wrestling news needs.
And while we have your attention here, check us out at our other podcast where we cover AEW Dynamite every week. We're called Two Dynamite Dudes with Attitude, and you can follow that on Twitter at Two Dynamite Dudes. I believe it's the number 2 Dynamite Dude.
Correct.
And yeah, we might be recording tomorrow, Dominic.
Might be recording tomorrow. Yeah, we'll talk about that off the air here. And we'll work out some stuff and figure out how we're gonna set it up. So
sounds good.
Cool. All right, guys. Cool. Hey, thanks for tuning in. But guess what? We're out of time.
Desperately out of time. The tape machines are rolling. We'll see you guys next week right here on WCW Rewritten. Bye-bye.